drawing one of these rails by itself. When we drew the legs, we used a method just to sort of build up from a single model and keep on drawing onto that single model, and the legs are actually bodies. If we look under here, they're part of the table body, but if you're familiar with Inventor or another program, you'd notice that I've drawn this rail as a separate part and then brought it into the assembly, which sometimes is a better way of working, and it's probably important to understand both skills. So today we're going to draw the rail to go in between here as a separate part, and then we'll bring it in and put it in with some joints. First off, when I press my home view here, you notice that I get to a nice view of the table, but if you're getting to sort of something underneath it or something like that, what you can do is choose the front of the coffee table, and then the top right hand corner, or any of them really, and then right click and say set current view as home fit to view. So when I press home now, that's the view that comes up. And the same thing, if you've got issues with, say, the top of it not actually being called the top, you could look at the top first and then say set current view as top, and that helps to reset the views, which is sometimes nice to be able to get your head around where things are. So in a new design, so a new tab over here, we're going to start a rail. Now I'm going to take advantage of using that mid plane again, like I did with the coffee table, because we're going to learn how to do a mirror soon. So whilst we could choose a 2-point rectangle, I'm going to choose a rectangle as a center point rectangle, and it doesn't really matter where I draw, but I'm going to say draw from the front here, click on that sketch, and from the center point I'm going to go out to the side. It's 70 high and 430 I think between the legs, or at least that is what I chose. Notice that when I move my mouse after I put that dimension in, it stuffed up the 430, so you have to press enter before you move your mouse. So I'll do that again, 430, and then enter, and just go to a 3D view, stop sketch, and I can extrude that out 19 millimeters. So there's my rail. Notice that it is either side of the blue line, which is the plane in the middle. We're going to use that to put the dowels in and then mirror them across to the other side, so you don't only have to draw them once. But for now we're going to leave it like it is and put it into our assembly. So we need to save that, and we're going to call it table rail perhaps, and it's in my coffee table folder. So I'll press save, go back to the coffee table, and if I pull out this little menu here, you can see this one called table rail is the one that I just created. So I need to right click on that and say insert into current design, and that brings it into the current design once. Once it's in there, I could copy and paste it a couple of times. The offsets don't really matter at the moment because we're going to put some joints in there anyway. So I'm going to put this one, because I've already got one there, I'm going to put this one in between those two legs, and it's a little bit different to what we've experienced with Inventor in the past. Usually we'd try and constrain three faces to be aligned with each other or flush or mated with each other. Instead, for this one we're going to choose joint. Doesn't matter that it wants to capture the position of its current position. I probably prefer to drag things away and then put them back properly, so I can say capture position, and the component I want to choose is the rail and the leg, but it's really important actually where I click. If I click on the two faces like we would have in Inventor, I don't really have a reference point to be able to constrain it properly. So what I've found, and together with Mr. Hunt, is that if we choose the corner first, so rather than just choosing that face, but I actually specifically choose, I'll hover over the face and choose the corner there, and then I go up here and I can get a reference point to this leg. So again, that face, but up into the corner of that face, you can see it's put itself nicely right up into that corner, and it sort of did a rotate around that corner to see exactly where it was going to be located. And then I can put my little offsets in here. So I think probably in the Z direction. No, that's the wrong one because it's gone the wrong way, so I'll put that back to 0. Change this one on the Y. No, again, wrong one. So this one needs to be offset in the X direction, and that's gone the wrong way, so I go to -5. And you could just use those push-pull arrows to find out which one needs to move, and then just round the dimension off here. So it's 5mm in. I think it's probably 5mm. That sounds okay. You could probably do actually 3mm is more reasonable to get that little offset there, like you would have for your coffee table rails. So that's one rail put in. I won't go around and do that 4 times, but what I will show you is I can right click on that and copy, and then I can paste it in a second time. So there's a second rail there, and then I could start that procedure again, putting that second rail in here. Now I just noticed that I selected a revolve joint. That was not correct actually. That's why it revolved, and it probably still is going to swing around, and we don't want that. So I might quickly do this joint as well. It's just because that's what it was left on last time. It was on Revolute, but I want it on rigid, so I'm just going to do that same process and show you how it should work. So zoom in on the face, just choosing the corner, and again on this one, zooming in on the face and choosing the corner. Should bring it in nice and rigid there like it has, and I'll change that to -3 actually, wasn't it? Okay, so that rigid joint there is much better. That's what we want for the rail. I don't want the revolve there, but at least it shows you how that works. Some of you might like to put a drawer in so you can explore the slider joint, but we'll have a look at that together later on. So I'm going to delete that joint and say delete, and I can try and put that one back in again properly. Hopefully that was easy enough to follow, and next video we'll have a quick look at making the 3 dowels and mirroring them to the other side.